in junior high next year. And I was like, yeah.
You know, those are all the
And
people
still
who now are
yeah.
bragging that they still watch Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
They are.
What? I still watch it.
I
Well, no,
saw
like those bullies who are like, yeah, I don't like that, I'm not a kid anymore. Those are the same people like, oh, Dragon Ball's cool now? Oh man, look, I'm watching it. I've seen it all the time.
I saw you versus denim shirt.
What if I watch them both though?
What if you watched them both though? Like Pokemon and Digimon?
Yeah.
You're allowed to like both.
You are allowed to like both.
You're allowed to be wrong.
I'm just gonna leave it at that because this is not even close yet.
No one's perfect.
That's perfect. Perfect answer.
You're allowed to like both.
You're allowed to be wrong. I saw you with the Umaru bag. Did you have a question?
Me?
I thought you were like me.
Oh yeah, well I did have a question. It's a little bit more of a serious one, but
Okay.
yeah, I didn't mean to like throw off the flow.
Okay,
But
no, I'm
anyway,
serious now.
Yeah, but like so, I know there's like there's a lot of it's hard for some women to get jobs in some fields. And how would you say this? Being a woman, was it hard to get a voice acting role to begin with, or getting into the industry? Like, was there a lot of difficulties getting into the industry?
Getting into the industry for anyone is exceedingly difficult.
Yeah.
It's a small community.
I will say, like, as an actor, like, not an anime voice actor, but acting the field, the industry is, there's a lot more women in the game than men are. Than men, I would say. When you think,
Right.
at least when I go to auditions, there's 50
Right,
more women than men. So you have more competition.
Ton of more competition.
Back to what we were saying about anime before, though, is that it's really evolved into a lot of subgenres in recent years. That it's not all about Gundam and Shonen anymore. Like there's more roles for women now, and like more diverse roles. And there's shows that are like really female centric. You have shows like Girls in Panzer that have like no boys in it, and then you still have the shows that are all boys with like one girl. But it's pretty balanced now, I would say.
It's getting much more balanced, but like, for example, in theater in general, I know there is a school that I was applying to their graduate program, and I was like, hey, how many people do you take? They're like, we take 10 people every year, we take 6 boys and 4 girls. And I was like, oh, why is that? They're like, because there's significantly more male roles in theater than girls. And it doesn't make sense to make it half and half when you can't expect that to have that fairness out in the real world. And while I was simultaneously like understood and offended, but like it's just something that happens, because if you look in scripts, I think it's something ridiculous. Like it's like 80% of all roles are male and 20% are female when it comes to speaking roles in plays.
I feel like that's exact reverse for like anime.
And the only reason is for that though is because of the little boys. I feel like.
Well, and also like you get stuck with like harem animes. You get
Right.
single male protag self-insert.
That's true.
And
That's
that makes up a lot of anime where it is archetype, and insert yourself hero.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Good question. So like yes and no.
I'm using this mic, sorry.
Yeah, you are.
Well,
I'm like,
oh.
So,
yes.
So starting out voice acting, did it start as a hobby? Like did you have a job at the time, or did you just focus everything on voice acting?
Okay, let's like tell our origin stories, I guess.
Who wants to start?
Start on your side this time.
Yes.
so I've done theater and improv since I was in 6th grade. And theater and improv and voice acting all becomes who you know. I met Chris Ayers while I was doing, I was working with a performing group, and when I was still in college, and the fact that he had experience on Broadway, I realized he was a great source to tap and learn from when I was writing my papers, because I would go to conventions on weekends, perform, and write my papers overnight. So, great first person reference, and I came down and ended up getting an audition. However, jobs in the industry are not back to back. That's only been a recent thing with Funimation simuldubs, and I don't live in Dallas, so I have student loans to pay. So I have a regular job. I love doing anime, and it is my passion, but realistically, it is the secondary thing to paying off student loans because I would like a house. I would like not to be in debt. I would like to feasibly live. I think that's the best without having to move away from the area I love. And that is my choice. I live in Austin. I love Austin. But the jobs are in Dallas and Houston. And that does affect me especially, which that is my choice though. So it essentially, it's always been my passion, but it's realistically pursuing my passion in a way where I can balance it and do everything I want to do.
Yeah, I would say like even the people who are doing anime all the time, like the people who are in all the things, they're not doing anime like, yeah, like 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday. That'd be amazing. But, well, our voice is probably really tired, but, it's very much like, I don't want to say a supplemental thing because it is a lot of our passion, but it's like you pretty much have to have either a lot of other acting gigs or another job, like we call it day job. I'm really lucky because I'm writing scripts now. I started as a voice actor and by chance got a chance to start writing scripts, and I was working at a laser tag place when I started.
I was about to say that.
Yes, I went from laser tag
So
to
good.
anime voice acting. I mean, I was doing acting though. Like I went to school for acting, got my degree in theater, and came to Houston because I lived in North Carolina, but there you can't do anime really a whole lot of acting in North Carolina. Well, there's a good film scene, but anyway. So came to Houston and started doing theater, and I got into children's theater. So I was doing like theater for kids with this cool company in Houston, and I networked a lot, and I got to know people. And somebody got me an audition at Sentai. I don't even know who. I just got a call one day. I was like, somebody was really nice and put my name in the hat. And whoever they are, I'm grateful. But yeah, so it's a job, and it's a good job, but it's not a do all the time. Like, you can't depend on just anime work, even if you're one of the like top dogs, like, because there's just not enough of it.
My origin story, I didn't, even though I was a fan of like cartoons and animation in general, I never considered it really. I was busy pursuing, like I wanted to be an actor, and I love stage work, I love film work, so I was going to school for acting, and I had actually like also taken a break from acting to make sure that it was something that I wanted to do. Like I went to school, and the program that I was in was kind of falling apart because it was the last year of its like, and if anybody messed up a class, like you'd have to take a bunch of classes over because it wasn't going to transfer to the new degree. So like when I came back to acting, I was able to get an audition with one of my friends. He was my teacher at the time, and now he's my friend. But he, for our class, he took all of us into Sentai to audition, and that was our midterm. So like, we had to perform not only for class, but like this was an official, like an audition, and if they liked any of us, they were allowed to call us, and I ended up getting a call, and that was like my first opportunity with anime. And then shortly after, I had previously worked with Chris Ayers in fight choreography because I was an assistant director at a high school for shows, and I had brought him in for fight choreography, and he had seen, you know, my capabilities because I would stand in for different actors if they weren't there and stuff like that. So we had a relationship there, and I ended up getting my foot in the door there. But for the most part, I wouldn't say that voice acting is a side job, because even though it's not my main source of income sometimes, it's my true passion and it's what I'm reaching for. I don't know anybody who can, like you said, live on anime salary, just pure anime alone. I know people who live off, like, you know, doing commercials and voiceover in general. Like I know a friend who's in a loop group. A loop group is somebody who lives in LA, and basically they're paid to like make up background noises for everybody, and they make bank. he's saying it right now. The groups, yeah, they make crazy amounts of money. There's no notoriety in it. Like, you don't get famous for it, but it is a
Nobody
consistent.
pays for his nice house in Van Nuys very well.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So like, there's a number of ways to get through with voice acting, but specifically anime voiceover, it's not something that you can completely limit yourself in. You have to have something else, or you're not gonna make it.
Yup. Good question. Who else has a question?
Anybody?
It doesn't have to be, oh, yes.
I know y'all touched on it a little bit earlier, but I was curious. What do you, in anime, and especially as women, do you find that it's, even in anime, it's more who you know than what you know? Or is it always a trade-off?
All day, every day.
I feel like it's a mix of both, because it doesn't matter who you know sometimes, because sometimes if you get in there and you're not doing the work that the director needs you to do, there are, like, it's not just who you know, you have to have the backing behind it. Like, you can say for like some reasons, like, you know, it's about who you know. Yes, to a degree, but it's also how people know your work reputation. Are you coming in on time? Are you actually putting out a product that they want? But, like, yeah, you have to meet the people to get in there, but it's also, you can't expect that to be the only thing you have.
I think who you know is very important at the beginning. Definitely for getting your foot in the door.
Right.
There's a lot of talented actors out there who, like, I mean, it's, these, like, anime is so, like, close-knit, and they've done a really good job of bringing in new talent. You know, every once in a while they'll do a general audition, but they don't do that a lot. Like, you've gotta have a good reputation, you've gotta keep your nose clean, you know, but, yeah, I'd say it's very largely who you know, especially at the beginning.
But I don't think it's something you can rely on.
Oh, yeah, no.
No.
Like, it's,
No. I definitely think, again, I'm just going to be echoing the echo chamber of, yeah, it's very much who you know in the beginning to get that audition,
Right.
but if you want to stay there and keep your spot, you better be willing to fight for it, and that means being a decent person, being a decent actor, and putting the effort in there to stay where you are, because
right.
you're replaceable. That's the
Mhm.
one thing as an
Everyone's
actor, it really
replaceable.
stinks to hear, but we are replaceable.
Yeah.
If
There are
someone
a lot of
doesn't,
people that want this job.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It is very competitive, I think, and that's with all acting and art. Like
Yeah.
there's always someone else that is ready to take that spot, and so once you get that role, you better fight to keep it and mind your manners.
As an actor, like, you are your product.
Yes.
Right.
So a lot of your job and stuff, what people don't realize before they get into the industry, or not even just anime, but like acting, is like so much of your work, the time you spend working, is not spent in the booth or on stage or on camera. It's spent updating your resume, getting headshots, working on your website, going to an event that a director's gonna be at, making a good impression, like networking, marketing, branding yourself, you know, and like we try to stay pretty active on social media too, and like you have to keep your presence up. Like that's
myself as here.
wow.
It's not real
Yeah.
until you do.
I know.
How do we really know that you're here right now?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to like take a picture and be like, I'm here.
I done did.
I'm not very good at the social media part of it, which is part of my problem. That I acknowledge. I need to get better at it.
He's okay.
Yeah, she's right. A lot of it is that
Yeah.
I'm just really
It's who
bad
you
at it.
know at the beginning, and it's still who you know, but a lot of it is like who you present as to.
A lot of moving pieces after that.
Right.
Yeah,
I feel like
definitely more than just acting.
it is more than just acting. It's also like, you know, just being a good person.
Oh yeah, because
Not-
if you're not, like, you'll be out there so fast.
Right. You have to
You're
be
the worst.
like, and you have to be like respectful. It's really important to be respectful of each other, because like, it's really like, it's you have to be respectful to everyone, even if it's somebody you don't get along with, or like, I don't know, like maybe you feel snubbed by someone. It's just, you have to be nice to everyone. It's not even nice. It's just respectful. Like, right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who else has a question? Yes.
Okay, I've already asked David and Bryson this, but I'm starting out with voice acting as well.
Cool.
So I'm wondering if you guys have any advice.
Oh yeah, this is a question we try to answer like every panel. Go ahead, Caitlin. You haven't gotten to start very many times. We'll echo you this time.
So, voice acting is just theater. So, learning to act, getting familiar with the stage and learning to perform is a very important part of it because you are acting. You also learn volume control by being in these situations of, say I'm not using the mic at this point, I'm having to project. When you go into a booth, it's not really any different than gauging how far you need to throw your voice or how long until you're going to blow out the mic. Acting teaches you so many of those skills, especially enunciation, diction, all of that fun stuff. Accents are great to learn in any sort of speech class. Also, improv. Absolutely, improv. I cannot say that enough because a lot of the first things you do as a voice actor is get brought in for Walla. You're doing a lot of background sounds. You're having background conversations, and if you get into the booth and they're like, okay, we just need you to be a high school student, start having a conversation like you're in a school, and you freeze up because you don't know what to do, that's not thinking quickly on your feet, and the director will remember that. So improv for me, I think, has been probably the most helpful thing, and I love it. I think it's way more fun, and if anybody has stage fright, I think improv is a great way to move past that too. Especially when I know theater can be really rough on people later on in life. Like I love theater, but man, there were days I was in the theater where I didn't know what color the sky was. I hadn't seen the grass. I didn't get my homework done because I'd been in the theater building sets all night. And it is rough, but it prepares you to deal with anything. When I think back to college,